Tosunga Baninga's Change the Script campaign, launched today, aims to combat gender-based violence and femicide in South Africa by using film to redefine societal norms and behaviours. The campaign will include events centred on movies to educate, inspire and engage communities, police and lawmakers. For more on this, we now speak to Director of Tosunga Baninga, Norma Uhuru Mbele, and she joins us now in studio for more on this conversation. Norma, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I'm sure you had a busy day today with the launch of your campaign. Tell us more about it.
I had a longest day and it was an amazing launch. We were honored by so many departments, women from the community, most women who experienced violence, women who lost their daughter, that were killed by their partners or by their neighbors. Yeah.
And when it comes to, the 16 days of activism of no violence against women and children and how it coincides with your campaign, just tell us, when it comes to the sort of activities you had today to highlight some of the challenges being faced by women and children in our country.
Today, with changing the script, it's more of how do we change the way we do things? We know we go to the police, they will take long to get the evidence. So we are saying they need to change the script. When we have a rape victim, can we then have the DNA test be done? And within 7 days, can we get the result? Because most cases are dragged because of the DNA test. Sometimes police stations don't have even the test kits. So we want to change the script. We want the police to change how they speak to gender-based violence victims. Also, accountability is not only focusing on police and PA, also focuses on us as the community members. How do we start talking to our kids? How do we start talking to our boy kids? There's this thing that if a person was raped, the same community will say, why was she in the street at night? But now we need to change and say, what happened? How can we help? What is it that can be done? Change how we do things from the homes, and how by playing movies like today we played a documentary, The Dorpy. The Dorpy is about every town, because what's happening in Cape Town, it's happening in Gauteng. What's happening in Gauteng, it's happening in Mpumalanga. How do we interlink our struggles? How do we then go into play movies and start engaging and start changing how we speak and doing things through movies and recreating crime scenes so that we can start interacting? Because when you see the mock crime scene of the dead person, you start wanting to know what happened to the person. Then we engage, you understand the pain, because the families will be the same people that are narrating their own stories.
And perhaps, you're talking about changing the script. And do you think that, with this kind of approach, it's where we begin to actually look at these challenges being addressed by our societies?
They are definitely sure, because many people who talk about their pain, they tell people that also have the pain. And it's also healing. The more we speak about it, we heal. And the more we heal, we will see better communities. Because we realize with the victims that we dealt with, they are healing through this journey. And they become healers, because we are changing the script of how do we do things. Like the case I will make an example of, it's Mome's case. She was a 19-year-old girl, aspiring model, and she was murdered by the neighbors' kids. And her mom was carried by Ulebham Mukhel, whose sister was murdered by the boyfriend. Lebhan is healing Mome's mother. For the first time, Mome's mother is talking about her pain and also healing other people. And through that, we're also teaching the boys, because we bring them along to say, can you see what impact you leave when you commit the crime towards women? So we do see change in how we do things.
How important is it for us to continue to have campaigns of this nature? And I hear you talking about healing, and I'm sure that's one of the biggest outcomes from discussions of this nature. How important are these campaigns for our communities?
I think we also need to change how do we do campaigns. We have marched, we have done so many things, and it's 15 women a day in South Africa that are murdered. We've seen it on the statistic. And it's not changing that much. We also need to find ways of how do we make sure that as big as this, the kids understand what violence is. How does it look like? What does violence do to other people? So they become grown-ups who are compassionate, who can feel other people's pain, who know that if I inflict pain to another person, I'm actually harming everyone that stays around that community. And see if we can have better communities. Because it starts in the house, it goes to the community. We cannot expect somebody from outside to come and heal our community and come and be able to eradicate violence when we are sitting and folding our arms. We also need to take accountability and also say, in this community, what is it that we are going to do to see that we don't have violence? And if violence has been perpetrated, how are we going to find ways to get justice? Because we also don't get justice with these cases. I mean, you go to court, they are given bail of 500 rand. And the families have lost their daughter, who's a breadwinner sometimes. And even if they go to jail, they get more privileges. They go study with your own tax money. They kill your daughter, but you're going to make sure that you feed them, you dress them, you send them to school with your own money. Yet when we go to court, victims' family are not even supported. Also, the government has to check on that to say, how do we support the victims? Even our constitution says nothing about the victim. As we are trying this side, the lawmakers also must come on board and change other policies. And also, we go to court, the NSP is beautiful, but when we go to court, they tell us that we are going to give them bail because the law says they have right to bail, they have right to lawyers, they have right to this. But there's nowhere that say she had right to life.
Very important conversations to have indeed, Norma. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for coming in studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that is Norma Uhuru Mbele. They're just talking to us about the campaign that they have run as Tosunga Baninga, changing the script.